Welcome to Lock In with Bella. From the block to the bigger picture. We don't just talk about it, we see through it. I'm Bella. Let's lock in. So there's tension in the air right now. You can feel it when you scroll. You can hear it in the comments. You can see it stitched and restitched all over TikTok. Men versus women. Masculine versus feminine. Submission versus independence. Providers versus soft life. And everybody has something to say. But before we join the noise, let's slow down. Because I don't believe this is a gender war. I believe this is unresolved pain going viral. And when hurt people get a platform, their wounds can start to sound like wisdom. So welcome back to the podcast. If this is your first time here, this space is about clarity. It's about truth without chaos. It's about perspective without disrespect. We don't yell here, we think. And today we're unpacking what's really happening behind this online battle between men and women and why I think the real issue isn't what most people think it is. So let's unpack this slowly and methodically. So as I scroll on TikTok, I always see it's just an ongoing, growing panel where there's men and women arguing back and forth with different topics. All the topics that they have are, I guess I'll say they're spoken and they're read in a way that's one-sided, read in a way that is, I don't know why I heard abusive. It's like it's somebody's opinion and they haven't looked at both sides of this. They're not here to look at both sides of it. They're not here to find resolution. They're here to hurt. They're here to cause an uproar. They're here to cause some form of conflict. So my thing is what exactly is the panel about? Are you here to come to resolution, or are you here just to attack a large amount of people because it gains views? So what I started to realize is the more controversial the question is, or whatever the title is of the panel, the more people come in and they're arguing back and forth, and that, of course, that brings in views, that brings in more numbers. And so I started to really think about it as every day it's the same questions, the same panels. They haven't deviated for months and months and months. And I thought this was just something that was going viral for just a little while and that it would eventually end. But it has not ended yet, and it's been going on probably about half a year, if not a year. It's been going on continuously. They're not coming to any form of resolution. They're just arguing back and forth. They're bashing each other back and forth, not listening to each other back and forth. It's just, what is the point, right? So my thing is this, what I said in the beginning intro is that those wounds that people carry begin to sound like wisdom. But my thing is this, who told you was the person that was speaking from a place of wisdom where you could advise somebody in a rational way? My thing is, if you haven't healed from those wounds, and if you're easily triggered and you still haven't gain the understanding and the wisdom that God has tried to pour into you because of those past traumas and situations and relations that you have, I guess I'll say situationships and relationships that you've had back in the day. If you haven't learned from those things and fix yourself, here's the thing, fix yourself in that you are in no position to give advice to anyone. And this is just my point. I mean, this is my perspective on that. When you're talking to a mass amount of people, you have to understand that you are influencing a mass amount of people. Your point is to sway people into your thoughts. But what if your thoughts are corrupt? If your thoughts are corrupt because they're rooted in trauma and they're rooted in pain that you haven't healed from, then what are you influencing the masses to do? So what I've realized in these panels over and over again, because there's the women and they're hateful towards the men, and it's the men that's hateful towards the women, all you guys are influences is hate. You are actually feeding the problem. You're not resolving it. And they keep bringing up this thing about accountability, and I agree, accountability needs to be made, but then what? That both sides keep saying, men won't take accountability. The men are saying women won't take accountability, and they never go on beyond that. That's just it. Okay, once everybody takes accountability, then what? Because all I hear is a bunch of people yelling back and forth what each other's flaws is, then what? That's my point. And then what? See, until you heal from those things, you have no solutions. You have no instructions on how anybody can move forward. You don't have any real guidance for anyone or wisdom for anyone, because you can't move beyond the accountability part, which tells me that you have not healed, which tells me you have not worked on yourself, which tells me you have not looked within. Because if you look within, you'll be able to see the bigger picture outside of you, outside of your feelings about it, outside of how you was treated in a situation. You will be able to see both sides. That's what the healing part is about. And so we get these panels over and over again, and I don't know if they believe that they may be helping, but you're actually feeding the problem. You're not solving it. So what I was saying is, I think this is something different. It's also what I've paid attention to is that I got a word back in the, I don't even want to say back in the day. It was probably about 6 or 7 months ago, about the enemy's agenda and what was the next attack that the enemy was going to try to send on this world. And it was divide, racial divide. It was envy, jealousy. It was anything that causes divisive nature. What spirit brings in the divisive nature? The Jezebel spirit. Okay. So my thing is this. I start to look at these different panels, because at this point it's so many of them. You scroll and you swipe, and you just can't get out of the loop of all of this negativity that's going on TikTok. Now I find it interesting that TikTok does monitor and they kind of like make sure there's certain things you can't say on there, but they allow this hate to spew endlessly online with no problems. Yes, they say they give you certain words you can't use, but they're monitoring what's going on there, and that spewing of hate back and forth is okay with them. So they allow that, and they do let them get away with quite a bit, which is very strange to me. But I started to realize if the numbers are higher and they're generating more traffic, then it's fine. But if you're not generating as much traffic, then they have time to watch you, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. And what I noticed is that as long as it's something hateful, or you getting high numbers, people sending you gifts and all of the foolishness that goes on online, as long as the numbers is high and you getting traffic, they'll let stuff slide. But I start to really think even deeper than that. The enemy's agenda, people think they're on the side of right. People really be thinking they on the side of right, and they don't even realize when the enemy using them. So as I scroll through these different panels and everything, and I understand you want to get your feelings off, that's fine, but you can't be one-sided in that situation. And if you came online to just sit up and attack and abuse a large amount of people because you haven't resolved the issues within yourself, that's an issue. It's not everybody else's issue, it's an issue within you. Because one thing I did learn, because every single one of us has went through bad relationships. We've went through people lying to us. We've went through people betraying us. We all have similar stories. We all live here in this world. We've all dealt with it. Okay? But the thing is this: if you don't heal from those things, which I notice a lot of people don't, they run from, sitting silently or sitting in isolation to look at themselves and why they keep going through the same things they go through. Instead of doing that, they go and hop into a new relationship, or they just move on very quickly, or party, do whatever they need to do, mask it in anything, drinking and all kind of stuff, to try to run from what they really need to face, and that's themselves. I've been through bad relationships, people lying to me, cheating on me, all of those different things. But the difference is one thing that I did is, in the beginning of my journey, I asked God to heal me, and I asked him to heal me from one situation I was going through. The situation I was going through in that present moment, the heartache I was going through in that present moment. I asked him to heal me from that, because I didn't think it was anything beyond that I needed to work on. But God was like, oh no, you have so much stuff you need to work on. You hold on to stuff from childhood that I didn't even realize I was still holding on to, because we move on so quickly. We think there's no problems there. We don't realize some of the actions that we taken in our adult years is stemming from something that we hold on to from our childhood. And that's exactly what was happening with me. So God doesn't do anything he don't do things halfway. If you really serious and you really surrender and you really want to be healed, and because he had a greater purpose for me, and the one thing he did send me out is to make sure I go out and I tell people the importance of healing. So he's like, oh no, we going through all of this stuff that you carry. We going through all of this stuff that you carrying right now, because you need to let all of this go, because I want to use you for something. And I need you to go tell my people the importance of healing and why it's important to heal, and that they will never see this world the way I intended them to see it until they heal. And so when I look out in the world and look out in TikTok and see the bashing back and forth, I understand now really what's the importance of it. I understood before, but I see the real thing is when God puts you out in the forefront, in front of the masses, to talk to his people, to help his people. What influence do you have when you do that? So when I was led to go live and start talking to people to help people on a mass level, I understood the importance of that. Like, I understood that it held responsibility, because God kept making me read Ezekiel. Because if God sent me a warning to tell you guys, and I'm too afraid to tell you, or I'm too afraid to express my feelings, or my opinion, or my hurt, or my pain, or things that I've dealt with in my life, if I'm too afraid to express that, in fear that you guys may think I'm weak or weird or any of those things, lame, you know what I mean? Because you guys have so many names that you want to call people that don't operate like how you do, If I was too afraid to do that, your lives would be on my hands. Because if God sent me to warn you about something that could save you, and I was too afraid to do it, or I was too afraid to expose myself in the process to help you see a bigger picture or a different perspective, your lives is on my hands. And that's not something I'm willing to deal with. Like, for real. That's not something I want, okay? So he made it to the point where I was able to understand those things, the relationships, the trauma, and all of that stuff, and how it affects your life and your behavior and the actions you take in your life. He helped me to understand that on a deeper level. He helped me to be able to see from different perspectives, the same situation from both sides. He helped me want to look at both sides to understand the situation. Because you have to. You have to. You can't be coming in to try to resolve something or come to some solution on something when your whole intentions of coming in is to hurt. You got to be out of that state. So when I watch these people go back and forth online, there's no solution in sight. There's no resolution in sight. There's not even an understanding that they're trying to gain. They keep saying that's what they're trying to do, but while they speaking, they attacking each other. What you got to understand is when you attacking somebody, they're not going to listen to you. You can talk to somebody and express your opinion to them without attacking them. Your point is to help them understand and to see things clearly, but once you start putting insults and all kind of stuff in there, calling them out of their name, they are no longer listening with an understanding or understanding ear. They don't care they're not trying to understand you, because all they hear is you bashing them. So my thing is, what is your purpose? What did you come here to influence? And who are you sent by? I started looking at them online, and I started looking at them really different, because God made me see them really who they were, who sent them. And he reminded me of that message that I got, that prophetic message I got a while ago. The enemy was going to come in to try to cause divide. And so I'm seeing it over and over, reoccurring over and over again. But they're bashing each other back and forth. The question and how it's worded is exactly that. It is like, it's meant to make people angry. It's meant to put people in their feelings. It's meant to make people get upset, because they came to argue. They didn't come to bring understanding. They didn't come to bring resolution, even though they pretend that that's what they're there for. Some of them, at least. Some of them are very honest. Honestly, I've heard a few of them just say, if we're not here to speak peacefully, if you're not here arguing and going off, then we don't want you on the panel. I've heard some of them, at least they were honest. But at least I know who sent them right away. But it's some people in here that's pretending as though they're coming in as understanding They want resolution, and here's the problem. People need to take accountability, but it's masked and wrapped up pretty in that. But when they speak out of their mouth, you know who sent them. You know who sent them. So at this point, people got to understand, what are you influencing? I get it. Everybody wants to be a content creator, and you want to talk to the people. Cool. But what are you influencing them in? Because at the end of the day, when you stand before God, you got to answer for that. If you led his people astray, this is what I'm getting. If you led his people astray, and you caused hurt to their heart, and you caused hatred to stem up in them, you fed that. You got to answer for that. That's why I didn't take this job lightly when I'm going to be speaking to the masses, because I understand the importance. People are always looking for somebody to look up to. They're looking for wisdom and knowledge, and they're looking for somebody that can help them gain clarity, right? Online, whether you decided to come online and be an influencer or not, you are an influencer the moment you sit behind this mic and hundreds and thousands of people listen to you, and you gain a following. People are actually listening to you, and you can influence them. So you got to ask yourself, what are you influencing? And so this brings me to the bigger picture of this. I honestly think this whole war back and forth, because I noticed that it's particularly in one culture, and we all know what that culture is black culture. They are arguing back and forth, and it has continuously going on, bashing back and forth, and passport bros, and I'd rather deal with the bear, and all of this foolishness. All of this foolishness, okay? So that brings me to the bigger picture. What spell is this that somebody has cast on the culture? What witchcraft has been placed on them? This is what I'm saying. Pay attention. If you pay attention and look deeper, look at the spiritual side of things. This looked like a form of witchcraft, some kind of heavy spell that's been put on the black culture. And I'm going to go a little deeper. I'm going to dive a little deeper. Pay attention to how it's a lot of same-sex relationships. I think this is some form of spell or witchcraft. I'm going to be honest with you. And that's what I'm heavily getting. I'm heavily getting. They're getting attacked in every way possible. You're getting attacked in this world. They've tried everything else to break you. Why wouldn't they be doing spell work? They've tried every form of spell work. They've spoken curses over you. They've repressed you. They've tried to harm you. They've did all of these other things. Why would they not use witchcraft too? Pay attention, okay? Pay attention. You need to look deeper into what it is that you aid in. Who sent you to do this? Why do you have... This is why it's so important to heal. Because when you heal and there's no trigger that people can use against you, the enemy can't use you. He cannot use you. And that is what I always explain in my cast, okay? I have a prophetic ministry. And I always talk about the tools that the enemy can use in you. That's why you go into these negative relationships. That's why he set you up with these negative people. He wants you traumatized. He wants you in pain and heartache and bitterness. That's the stuff he can use. He can use you to act on those things. That's why if you heal, you're not easily triggered. You're not overly emotional. You're operating in a sound mind. You're seeing things clearly. You're seeing people clearly. You'll be able to recognize when somebody is hurt, when they spewing negativity towards you, that they're hurt. And you're not going to take it as serious. I'm going to just keep it 100 with you. If you could see deeper and clearly, you're not going to take what people say as serious. It's not going to hurt you as much, because you're going to be like, that person is just battling with some stuff themselves. They hate themselves. So of course they're going to hate me. They talk negative to themselves, so of course they're going to talk negative to me. You start looking at things in that way. And when you start looking at things in that way, the enemy can't use you to attack people. He can't use you to influence hatred and divide and all of those things. You got to understand when the spirit of Jezebel has been sent towards you, and I feel like the spirit of Jezebel is heavy on TikTok. And I'm getting confirmation of that, yes. You got to start to be able to recognize if the energy you in is yours, or is it something sent from the enemy. That's why I said this is a constant battle of the flesh here. Constant battle. You're going to be constantly fighting the flesh. Constantly fighting. So it's good to get some of these things off of your plate. The trauma, the pain, and all of that stuff. It's good to heal from those things, because at least it's less things the enemy can use. You already in the battle of the flesh, okay? That's going to always be there, right? So at least you want to relieve yourself from the trauma from these past relationships. You want to learn the lessons that you were supposed to learn in those relationships, and why they ended, and why you keep choosing the same type of person, and why do you keep surrounding yourself in the wrong people, and keep ended up being betrayed and hurt and lied to and all. I'm telling you, if it's a pattern, it's something within you you have to look at. You can keep looking out in the world and blaming everybody else, but it's something within you that you need to fix in order for you not to endure or even deal with people like this. After I went through the healing process, my circle got even smaller. My circle was already slightly small. Okay, it really was. I'm not in a place where I need a whole bunch of friends. People are fake out here, okay? Because I started paying attention and start walking in intentions. What are my intentions? I don't want negative people in my life. I don't want shady people in my life, fake people in my life, people that can easily betray me. I start praying that God reveal and expose those who have ill intentions towards me. Expose them in my life so that I can remove them out of my life, or ask Him to remove them out of my life. Once you start moving with intentions, less and less things are going to happen to you. Less and less betrayals are going to happen to you, because you're going to be moving with intentions now. You're not going to be easily accessible to people. You're not going to even have a place where you like, oh, I just want all of these friends and all these people around me, because you know what this world is about. You know how people are here. What did God say? Trust no man. Anybody can turn on you, especially if it's these people that operating in trauma and bitterness and all of this stuff. The enemy can use them very easily. So that's why I always tell people to pray for the people even around you. Yes, some of these people, when God say forgive them because they know not what they do, they don't even know they're doing it, because they so rooted in pain and trauma and triggers and all of that stuff. In our culture is rooted in all of this stuff, pain, trauma, everything. I don't even want to go down the list of things. Everything moving, we could just say. We've dealt with everything in our bloodlines and in our culture. Now the thing is, how do you get those things up off of you? God. You start praying against those things. You got to start praying with intentions, moving with intentions. If the people around you have the same similarities, like let me give you an example. Let me try to give an example. Say your bloodline is heavy with people that operate in people that's abusive. Okay? And all of these, it's like you can tell, because I have friends like this. All of the relationships they connect themselves to, they all end up being, end up being abusive. I'm getting passionate, so I'm hitting stuff. They all end up being abusive, right? And so you start to ask yourself, why do I keep attracting the same people around me and the same things keep happening, right? Now, yeah, you can grant it and say, hey, everybody in this world like that, this is what it is. It's not me, it's them, right? You can say that and just continuously keep dealing with the same thing over and over again and just be in that woe is me. That's what I just heard, woe is me energy. Or you can say, what can I do? Because you can't control the actions of everybody else, but you can control your actions. You can make sure you're on the up and up, and make sure that you are doing everything in your power and in your life to ensure that you don't have to continuously endure this. Now, am I saying these people are right? Absolutely not. But what I am saying is that you have the control to decide whether or not you want to deal with these people or not. Yes, they may be attractive, but are they that attractive that you're willing to deal with abuse? Do you want them and desire them that bad that you're willing to be hurt and traumatized and never to see the world clearly and never to experience real love and never to experience real relationships and real, true, genuine friendships? Because that's what is taken away from you. You dealing with that trauma and all of that stuff is taken away from your experience in this life. Because you're not going to see things clearly, so you're not going to be able to enjoy things the way God wanted you to enjoy them. You're not going to be able to have peace. You're not going to be able to experience that joy that God had for you, you have to heal. And when you heal, you're going to start moving with intentions. You're going to value yourself. You're not going to be in a place where you're going to be willing to easily settle, regardless of what somebody look like, no matter how much money they got or whatever you think they have, whatever accolades they have that is driving you to want them. You're not going to care about any of that stuff because your peace, your value, how you see things, the trauma and all that bitterness that you have removed from your life and now have come out of, you're not going to be trying to jeopardize that or going backwards after you do all that healing. So now you're moving with intentions. You're moving with standards. You have values now. And a lot of times with us women, we tend to go with the flow of things. That stuff is over. After you come out of that and you heal, you're not going with the flow of stuff no more. You're moving with intentions. You like, I know what I want, I know what I deserve, and I know my value. So I am not dealing with anything less than that. And you standing on business. You're not wavering from what you believe. They're not going to easily be able to sway you. And that is how you can change the things that's happening to you. Now, yes, granted, people, because I'm getting reminded of this, granted, people have this thing where they feel lonely. So they'll deal with some things just to not feel lonely. But you got to look at that too. It's something within you. Or it's the enemy making you feel lonely. Making you feel like you need somebody. And it's fine to want somebody, of course. We all do. But it's the right somebody, not just anybody. Not just, I'm going to open my door for anybody, even though you know the enemy trying to send them people, because he needs you to be in that trauma and bitterness, because that's how he can use you. He cannot use you in a healed state. He can't. You're not going to fall into the trap. You're not going to be able to be tempted or swayed into doing his biddings. You're going to be thinking rational and clearly and with love. And it's just reminding me of the next thing, too. I just thought about that, too. Women have nurturing energy, and we are supposed to have nurturing energy. That's how things grow here. That's how this world flow. We hold more power in this world than even we believe or we know. It's because the energy that we generate causes things to flourish and grow. What did God say? He who findeth a wife findeth a good thing. And when I tell you the enemy is so busy right now because they do not want me to tell y'all these truths that need to be said, I just recorded, I know that was at least another 10 to 15 minutes of some straight jewels, straight facts. I'm going to hope the Holy Spirit brings it back to me, which I know he will, so that I can repeat it, because it just suddenly stopped recording. It recorded everything up until this point where I just stopped. And I just dropped some jewels so I can let y'all know exactly what it is. It's a spiritual attack that's being sent towards the Black community, okay? And it's the spirit of Jezebel. It's the spirit of lust. They don't want you to know what your true identity is. So they need to keep you in a place of confusion. They need to keep these spirits attacking you always so that you can be so easily tempted by the flesh and tempted by your lust and your desires more than what God's will is. Because they need you to not come into the power that God has put inside of you. If you don't know what your identity is, you will never claim it. So what I was talking about as far as the women, when he said, he who finds a wife findeth a good thing, is because of the nurturing energy that the woman carries. So what is the enemy send towards you? Spirits that will have you attacking the woman. How you break down a culture? You start by tearing down the relationship between the man and the woman. You want to tear down the man first because he is the leader. So you got to get him out of that leader energy. You got to pull him out of that energy where he's leading properly. So what do? He's seeing the spirit of lust in, the Jezebel spirit in, to cause divide, to cause you to be looking at the desires of your flesh more than you looking at the bigger picture, right? So what you do is now, because that spirit is upon you, you cheating, you traumatizing, you abusing the woman, right? And that's snatching away her nurturing energy, because now she's in bitterness, trauma, and pain. She don't have the energy to nurture anything now, so nothing around her is growing. The energy, that nurturing energy that the woman has is the energy that's going to help you, men. It's going to help you. Some men don't even know the power they hold because this world has stripped them of it and has caused them so much confusion that they don't even know the power they hold. But put a nurturing woman in their life, a God-fearing woman in their life that still carry the essence of God and the nurturing energy that He has placed inside of her. Watch that man sprout up into a king, into a great leader. Behind every great leader, every king, pay attention to the woman. She's in nurturing energy. The energy that you snatch it from the women with these spiritual attacks that you really putting up against the woman too, because that's what they're doing. They're putting this negative spirit on you, the Jezebel spirit, the spirit of lust, confusion, cheating, all of that stuff, abuse. They putting that spirit on you and you putting it on the woman. So when I say this, I'm saying this because the problem is rooted in both sides. You can't blame one side. So the men right now, they're trying to blame the women, but you are the leaders. And so the way that I look at it is you are the leaders, right? And no matter what happens, you are the leaders. So whatever conditions you feel the women are in, you're leading it. So you can keep going back and forth and saying that it's the woman's fault. And the woman can say it's the man's fault. But I'm going to say it's both. Okay? Even though I know that the man is the leader. But I'm going to take an account that you guys are being attacked. But because you guys are not in y'all word the way y'all need to be in y'all word, and y'all not aligned with God the way y'all need to be aligned with God, you're not even fighting. You're not even in the fight. You just falling helplessly into the bosom of Jezebel. You are falling helplessly in it because you're not fighting against the right things, because you letting your flesh lead you. And because you let your flesh lead you, you attacking these women in a way where there's now like, we might as well let our flesh lead us too. And I'm gonna let that go. It's almost 3:30 in the morning right now, and my phone just rung. But if you guys hear it, you guys hear it. If you don't, you don't. I'm gonna just leave it in there. So yeah, also that's what I'm saying. You got to look at the bigger picture of things so that you can know what to fight against. What does God say? As above, so below. So the thing is, you got to bind some things up in spirit before it comes down so that it can be bound up on earth. So the tactics that's going against you is much bigger than what's happening in this world with the surface level. You got to fight the stuff in the spirit. So you got to identify what spirits is driving you, what spirit has the enemy attached to you, that is causing you to react in this way, because for every action, there's a reaction. So if you don't like the conditions that the women are in right now, then you got to understand what action has caused them to react in this way. Because that's the case. So whether you want to deal with it or not, or accept that or not, or take accountability on what's happened on your side, that's the problem. People keep mentioning this thing about accountability, but you can mention the thing and say it out your mouth, accountability, that I'm taking accountability, but if your actions don't match with somebody that has taken accountability, meaning that you are no longer operating in that energy, then you just talking. So we can play this game back and forth of blaming who did what, or we can come to a solution on what's the issue, what's the bigger issue, and what do we need to be fighting against first before we can tackle anything in this world. It's spiritual. That's what people got to understand. It's spiritual. The battle always starts in the spirit before it comes down to earth, and that's why we facing a lot of stuff here in this world right now, because it was happening. It was brewing in the spirit for quite some time. And you had all these people coming out speaking and warning and doing all of these things, repent and come out of sin and come out of your flesh, fleshly desires and heal, and all of these things you've been hearing over the last 6 to 7 years. It was warning you for this time right now where we at. This world is lacking in that nurturing energy. It's too much abuse and too much trauma and different things going on in this world. And I don't know, and it's being aided by Satan. That's the thing. He's the one driving the force on this. And so you got to understand and start questioning yourself, who are you working for? When you go out and you speak on these panels, when you go out in this world and how you treat people, who are you working for? Are you doing God's work or Satan's? All you got to do is look in the mirror and be truthfully and honestly with you. If you want to break yourself out of this cycle, and I hear a lot of people crying out saying we need to break out of this cycle. Here's how you do it. You got to fight in the spirit. Identify what the spirit is that you're carrying. And that's who you're going up against spiritually. That's what you pray against spiritually. You need to pray with intentions. And you can't pray with intentions if you don't know what's attacking you. So here it is. The Jezebel spirit is what's causing divide in the black community against men and women. All of these divides, and I don't even want to just say that because it's racial. It's a lot of racial tension and everything. I spoke about this in the past in one of my ministries because I got this message a while ago. Any form of divide that's taking place right here is tied to the Jezebel spirit. So you want to be praying against the Jezebel spirit. You want to be praying for clarity. You want to be praying for strength to fight against your flesh and the temptations that the enemy is sending towards you. You want to be praying for healing in the past things that has happened to you, the trauma and all of that, ladies, because you want to make sure that you can come back into the nurturing energy so that we can get things back in order where they need to be. Things are out of order. And the reason why men have an issue with the women saying that the women are in their masculine energy because you are out of order. And this is, I'm just telling you, don't shoot the messenger, okay? If things are out of line, they're going to run disarray. That's how it goes. So you're saying, oh, the women is too masculine. Things are out of order. Women don't feel protected right now. Things are out of order. Women feel constantly under attack because things are out of order. The men have stepped back from the leadership role because they bound up by the Jezebel spirit. The Jezebel spirit got them in the chokehold. Their flesh got them in the chokehold. Confusion. It's confusion being sent out. They need you to not know who your true identity is because if you did, they got a problem. They got a problem. And they've been fighting you on this for quite some time. I don't know why you wouldn't think that it was spiritual. It's always been spiritual. But you just needed to see it from that place. So, man, I'm not here to attack anybody. Like I said, I'm not here to attack anybody. I'm just speaking what I'm led to speak. I let the Holy Spirit lead me, and that's what I'm going to say. The truth is always going to come from my lips. I don't sugarcoat nothing. I'm here to help. I'm not here to divide or anger or any of that stuff. I'm trying to get to a solution, resolution, changes, growth, expansion. That's what I'm trying to get to. We're not going to just sit here and harp and complain back and forth with no solutions, with no ideas of how to fix things. We've been arguing enough. That's not helping. So we're going to move on and we're going to look at it in a different way. We're going to look at it deeper. We're going to look at the bigger picture of things because that's the only way we will be able to tackle it. So at this point, I'm telling you, what you want to do is, men and women, you guys want to pray for each other. Don't just pray for yourself, pray for each other. You don't like the way the women is moving right now, pray for them. If the women don't like the way the man is moving, pray for them. We are in a spiritual war. And look at it in that way. Don't look at it in a way because, like I said, none of us here is without sin. All of us have fell to the temptations of our flesh. We all have. So you got to give people grace. Granted, people have been in this state for a long time, but we're going to still give them grace and pray for them that they can come out of this energy so they can come out of the web that the enemy has placed on them. We all constantly fighting to come out of these webs and these temptations and all these traps and everything that Satan has set up for us. We all battling with the same thing. Yes, some of us fall head first and we aren't fighting, and that's the issue. We are not fighting hard enough spiritually. There's a lot of women getting rose up right now, speaking out more than ever before because a lot more women are more in alignment with God than men are. You guys need to get back in your word. Start learning what these spirits are and what characteristics they carry so that you can be able to identify them showing up in your life so that you can know how to know when it's there, nip it in the bud right when they try to show up. You need to be like, back up off of me from the start. Don't fall into the temptation of it, because every time that you fall into the temptation of it and you are easily able to be swayed, the enemy is going to just bring more and more and more. I just heard easy target. You're the easy target if you're able to just keep falling into it. But the moment you start saying no, No, I'm not going to do this. And you start resisting it. You see? Resist the devil and he will flee. You start resisting it, he has to come up with something else. He has to come up with a new way to try to tempt you, because the old ways your old ways is no longer working. And then once you come up out of those old ways, then what you want to do is you want to blind all monitoring spirits, masquerading spirits, familiar spirits, and anyone from seeing into your life, so that the enemy won't be able to see what's going on in your life now to know what to attack. And he'll still try to send them old temptations towards you, but you've conquered that already. So he could be continuously sending some temptations that you've already resisted, and you strong enough to resist it. So then that's the attack. The attack has become more simple because it's something you've already conquered. So when you block them out, they're no longer able to see what's going on in your life now. They're going to still assume you're still in those old patterns. And so they're going to continuously send you the temptations of those old patterns, which is easy work if you conquered it already. So I'm just telling y'all some things that I've learned along the way, what I'm being led to tell you. It's time. The truth, right now, the truth is coming out. Whether you wanted it to come out or not. My thing is, are you going to be in alignment when it comes out? Because you can say you chosen, but if you're not in alignment with God, what we doing? What we doing? And so that's how I see it. So this is a brand new podcast, so I am trying to get my numbers up and get myself in the algorithm. I'm not getting a lot of views, so if you guys do listen to it, please share the live, subscribe, like the live, engage in the live, comment, even if it's just something small. If you agree, if you don't agree, it's fine. Comment so that I can get more traction, so I can grow my channel. This information that I'm sharing with you, I am guided and led by the Holy Spirit, so some things you're going to hear is going to bring you clarity. It's going to bring the information that you may not know. It's going to help you see the bigger picture to get us to a place where we are in alignment with God and what it is that He wants us to do. Instructions on how to do things, how to fight spiritually. I will be talking about a lot of different things here. And so if that's something you feel it, you want to help a sister out, just help a sister out by liking, sharing, subscribing, and leaving just a small comment or leaving a big comment. If you don't agree with what I say, or you feel something different, or you seeing something different, you can leave that in the comments too, respectfully. That's perfectly fine with me. I want to hear everybody's opinion on different things. I'm not shut off from hearing other people's perspective. We have to talk to each other. That's the only way. We have to get a dialogue going so that we can actually come to some form of resolution. I'm going to be talking about a bunch of different things that we are facing in society that is just not being talked about. I feel like in the right way, where we can come up with an actual solution and not just be arguing back and forth. So again, y'all, this is how I see it, from the block to the bigger picture. If it made you think, share it. If it hit, run it back. I'm Bella. Stay aware and stay locked in.